Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All right, it is Wednesday. And as always on a Wednesday, our guests, including Farhan Lalji, brought to you by the Alberni Power and Marine RPM Group. So happy to have them aboard. Boats aboard. Got it? Right. Located in Port Alberni, Alberni Power and Marine is one of Vancouver Island's most trusted boat dealerships, the largest Mercury Marine dealership in Canada. Their service team just won for the fourth straight year a CSI score, Customer Satisfaction Index score, above the national average. Make your appointment for the 2022 boating season at albernipowermarine.com. Just ahead of Farhan Lalji, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. Alex in Sicamous. Have we had an Alex in Sicamous before?
I don't think so.
We haven't. He texting in, totally agree with you guys. You cannot wait until next year's trade deadline to ship JT Miller. Francesco Aquilini would not let the deal happen if the Canucks, and this is just repeating what I was saying earlier, would not let that happen if the Canucks were in a position to make the playoffs.
Bingo.
Again, we thank the folks in at least one person in Sicamous as we bring in Farhan Lalji from TSN. Big Lions game coming up Saturday, 4 o'clock. Lions and Bombers both undefeated. Farhan, thanks for doing this. How are you? Oh, look at that shirt.
I'm wearing my appreciation to Rick Dollywall shirt. You like that?
That's not bad. That's
better than anything that he's come up with.
Just stop. That's beautiful. I like it.
Does it fit?
What?
I would your curtains.
Yeah, I would wear that Friday. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Can you see how much I love you? This is for you, buddy.
Can you send it one over for Friday if you don't mind?
Extra large. Fine.
Send that one over. What do you think, Farhan? We'll talk about the Lions in a second, but what would the best time be to trade JT Miller, if indeed they're going to do that now, or do you take the chance of dealing him at next year's or the next season's trade deadline?
No, I think you trade him now, and I think you trade him before the draft because that's when the value's the highest, right? I mean, you on the draft floor, everybody's got optimism about what those picks are going to look like at any given time. So I think it makes the most sense to do it now. I mean, the longer you wait, last year it made sense at the deadline, and look, they weren't going to do it, and they were playing well, and I get all of that because the thought was that look, you've still got. You've got 2 playoff runs with this guy. I think he's a diminishing asset as you go forward here right now. I mean, yeah, I know, you can have some clarity if you're completely out of the playoffs, but as the texter said earlier, you're right. I mean, if you're right on the verge of getting in, there's no chance the owner lets you make that trade at that time when there's some potential for playoff revenue at the gate there. So I think you have to do it now, and definitely before the start of free agency so you have some clarity on what you're spending, but I think it makes the most sense to do it in the next 24 hours if that trade is out there.
Football. Can you put into words how much you're looking forward to Saturday's big showdown between the unbeaten Bombers and the unbeaten Lions?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. The only downside for me is I got to fly to Toronto to do the panel, so I'm not even going to be on the sidelines. But yeah, you know what? It is fun, and you tend not to want to cheer in one way or another. But I was kind of happy that Winnipeg won the last game, so that we could set up this battle for the unbeatens here, and that maybe it would lead to a few more fans coming and get a little more buzz around this game because it's exciting, right? I mean, when was the last time the Lions played a game this meaningful? And I know it's only in July. I get all of that. And the CFL season is a marathon, not a sprint. And so much is going to change between now and then. But the 2-time defending champs, led by former Lion Adam Bighill, led by the MOP Zach Caleros against this young upstart Nathan Rourke. The storylines are all there. And hopefully they can get to over 20,000 for this game.
Are the Lions in the Bombers league right now?
Sorry, are the Lions in the Bombers league? Yeah,
I know they're in the CFL. I get that, but in terms of quality,
yeah, I think so. And look, the Bombers full marks them for being 4-0, but watching the way they've played these games and who has outplayed whom in every game, the Bombers could easily be 1-3 right now. And look, they have no apologies to make for winning. They're a team that knows how to win, and when games get close at the end, they find a way to get it done. And, that's something that every team in the league is aspiring to. But when you look at how these defenses are performing start to finish and front to back. I mean, I like the Lions group better right now. And I know people are going to raise their eyebrows a little bit, but, BC's secondary, in my opinion, is the best in the league. I think right now that's Winnipeg's weakness. They've had some turnover and change in that group, and they've given up over 315 passing yards per game, which is near the bottom of the league. So, the Lions are absolutely in that league. Winnipeg offensively, they don't make mistakes, right? So every game stays close, but they're not going to run away from you, right? Whereas BC's got the ability to play a little more explosively. They can also play ball possession. They can do all of those things. So, yeah, absolutely BC's in their league. I think the Lions are for real, and this will be the game for them to prove that.
All right, Nathan Rourke, let's go back to Friday. Farhan, couple of picks, a fumble. He had some adversity, but he comes right back with 2 touchdown drives after all that adversity. Talk about his performance in Ottawa.
Yeah, truthfully, I was glad he threw the 2 interceptions. And, I tweeted it right at the time that this is the moment he needs. We need to see what he's made of on the road in a short week. But now some actual meaningful in-game adversity where you've thrown interceptions and it's led to points. And, now you've got to bounce back. And he goes 10 of 11 for 208 yards in that setting, right? And that showed you a lot, right? That this guy, all of a sudden, they zero blitzed him again. He finds Keon Hatcher up the seam for a 70-yard touchdown. And I think it was really good for him to go through that. And, he and I were texting afterwards, and he believes the team believes in him. And that's great. But you know what? The team themselves needs to see it. They have to see it. They have to know, right? As much as they believe it, you've got to see it in action at some point. So it was good for the entire organization that he was able to do that in that moment.
Everybody's talking about Nathan Rourke and the offense. They do lead the CFL in points. But what about the defense? They've only given up 49 points in 3 games, Farhan.
Yeah, and they lead the league in virtually every statistical category except turnovers, which the Bombers lead it, right? BC leads in interceptions, but Bombers have 11 turnovers. So they're doing it really, really well. And, when you looked at this team a year ago in the first half of the season, they were playing great defense, but it was kind of like Winnipeg. They were giving up yardage, but they were creating turnovers and they were bowling up in the red zone. Now they're not giving up yardage, right? It's not about turnovers, because when you can just do it on turnovers, that's not sustainable, because those balls aren't always going to bounce your way. They are stopping teams. They're playing well in the red zone, but between the 20s, they're also making plays. They're getting 2 and outs. So when I look at what they're doing defensively, I think it's a really good group, and their defensive line has come of age. One of the things in this league, guys, you're not allowed to be patient. It's a 9-team league, so everybody says, oh, you got to win every year. Well, that's not reasonable. It's still sport. One of the reasons Winnipeg is good is continuity. So you look at BC, last year, think of the growing pains they had to endure, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Boone Gwacham, Tim Bonner, Josh Banks, all young guys in their first year in the CFL. They're going to go through some growing pains. All those guys are slowly coming of age this year. Jordan Williams even better. So when I look at it, the fact that Neil McAvoy and Rick Campbell weren't fighting for their jobs a year ago, they were allowed to be patient.
Yeah.
You're seeing the benefits of it this year.
Okay, Farhan, before we let you go, this is a little off the course, but I know you've got an opinion on this. Just your thought of USC and UCLA jumping from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. It's going to happen in 2024, but it's a massive topic of discussion down south, and obviously has ramifications for a school that a lot of us care about, or 2 schools, Washington State and Washington.
Yeah, for me, I hate it. I just hate it. And it started a year ago when Texas and Oklahoma decided to leave the Big 12 and go to the SEC. And the Big 10 responded with, not necessarily 2 great teams, but 2 big markets, right? And certainly one team with the signing of Lincoln Riley as their head coach, which now has a lot of cachet. It's all about greed. It's all about TV money. ESPN did the SEC thing, so Fox has made the response here. Maybe Washington and Oregon makes that move, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But for me, I'm a traditionalist. I love college football, and the college football I loved is disintegrating before my eyes. I can't stand it. Hopefully there's a way for the Pac-12 to kind of create some merger or alignment with the Big 12 or the ACC and still stay really, really relevant, but don't like it at all.
Yeah, and that's being talked about, a merger between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the ACC. What was wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm with you. I'm a traditionalist as well.
More greed.
Yeah.
More greed, more money, right? Like I said, Fox wanted to they're talking about $1 billion television deal, so they want to have those 2 markets. And That really is what it is. It's pure greed. I know that, when Fox is involved, there's some political angles to it as well. I'm really disappointed that USC and UCLA went that way, because the Pac-12 finally got some good leadership and they were really trending in the right direction. But I guess they couldn't say no to money, and clearly not about students, because for football, you're making 5 trips a year. But think about baseball and basketball and soccer. Those teams are going to make 12 trips a year all the way, to the Midwest.
That's a great point.
You think that's great for students? Come on. Greed. Sucks. Hate it.
You see, this is why we have Farhan on. We talk college football, college sports, CFL. We
right
talk
there.
the
University of
NHL
Washington helmet right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the National Hockey League and the shirt. It all
Hey.
comes together.
Hey,
The Rose Bowl. My ticket's right there. You think the Rose Bowl is going to matter anymore? Oh, it's killing me.
Farhan, I'm going to stop you right there before you go through every item that's behind you, if you don't mind.
Hey,
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next
Shirt.
week.
Don't forget your shirt. Rick, I'll send it to you, buddy.
I'm down with the shirt.
extra large.
Yeah.
Right.